Was Mario Winans, I don't want to know. The Winans, they don't want to know. I don't know what they don't want to know, but apparently.
They don't know how many brothers and sisters they have.
So Jamelle Hill, ESPN's Jamelle Hill, started a bit of controversy on her personal Twitter page. One of the tweets she sent out that caused a bit of consternation. She says Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists. She also says Trump is the most ignorant, offensive president of my lifetime. His rise is a direct result of white supremacy, period. She also says the media doesn't make it a threat. It is a threat. He has empowered white supremacists. See Charlottesville. She also said he's unqualified and unfit to be president. He is not a leader, and if he were not white, he would never have been elected. At which point, ESPN said this. The comments on Twitter from Jamelle Hill regarding the president do not represent the position of ESPN. We have addressed this with Janelle, and she recognizes her actions were inappropriate. What doesn't represent the position of ESPN? That the president of the United States, Donald Trump, is not a white supremacist? Or do you support the fact that he is a white supremacist, but because he's the president, we're supposed to pretend like we don't see it? Are you more angry at Jamelle Hill for saying what millions, and I'd say the majority of Americans now fully recognize and admit? Or is it the fact that is knowing someone's a white supremacist worse than saying it out loud? Here's what I'm exhausted about. There are any number of times, where you have these Trump supporters, they'll say, well, stick to being an athlete, or stick to being an actor, or stick. You have forfeited that. You voted for a reality star for president, so you have forfeited the right forever to tell anybody to stick to anything. You forfeited that right. Jamelle Hill told the truth. Everybody knows it. And what I am sick of is white people and white organizations, or particularly white men, getting on and explaining how something's not racist. Mike Huckabee did it a little while on The View. He said the pardon of Joe Arpaio, Joe Arpaio isn't a racist, even though he ran the equivalent of a Mexican concentration camp. He explained it as he's being an 85-year-old man. He's not racist. 85-year-old white men and racism generally go hand in hand. It's not shocking to find out that an 85-year-old white man might be racist. What I'm tired of is white men who never have been born the brunt of racism, have never been under his heel or under his boot, can tell you what it is. You can tell me what it is, what it isn't all the time. So Trump, we know his father, Trump's father was arrested at a KKK rally. That's not racist. We know in the 70s that Trump and his father refused routinely to rent to black people in apartments they had to the extent that they were sued by the federal government twice. We know that Trump in the 80s wanted to get rid of a black accountant over his casinos because he wanted a Jew to be in charge of it. We know that he ran for years on the idea that President Obama wasn't born in America. That was racist. He talked about how Mexicans were rapists and murderers and they bring in crime. That wasn't racist to people. He talked about a judge's qualifications. He can't be qualified because he's a Mexican. That isn't racist. At every turn, there's some white guy telling you that that's not racist. He talked about most recently at Charlottesville, he equivocated, made a moral equivalence between Nazis and the people who opposed them. That wasn't racist. Even though everybody else in America came out and condemned his words, that's not racist to a lot of people. We know that that recently he pardoned Joe Arpaio, who got convicted for being equivalently for racially profiling people. That wasn't racist. So if you can tell me what racism isn't. You can tell me all of these things aren't racist and that all of these things aren't wrong. If you can tell me, I will believe you when you tell me what racism isn't, when you can sit there and tell me what it is. All right, that's a little note from the GED section. We got the Jazz Report that's coming up in 15 minutes on the D.L. Hughley Show.